Here with today we're playing PanzerLeader. We are doing scenario 5, Operation Goodwood. We are on the Axis turn 9. So the Axis aren't going to have any change in their indirect fire pattern. They want to deny this bridge, so they're going to keep this. So I just have to do the fire pattern from last turn. So it's going to be 60 to 2. It's going to be 4 to 1 over here. And 4-1 with 5, I believe, is an X. Yes. So there will be a wreck right there. Yep, right there. Oh, let's see. Oh, oops. There we go. So the wreck was either right. No, I think the wreck was right above the row. Over here, 4 to 1. 6. So 6 even is a dispersal. But I did capture the bridge. Now next turn is going to be crucial for the Germans. Well, this is basically the last turn 9 Germans. In direct fire phase, the Axis does not have any in direct fire at this point. They all opportunity fired to prevent the rush for this bridge or the dispersed. I mean, I have this one right here. I guess if I can get this, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the best I can do right here is give a little more support for this unit in the village. Down here, go over here and support that. I don't know what that guy's been doing, hanging out over there for so long. And I think that is it for the Axis fire and movement phase. They do not have much going on right now. Alright, it's all going to come down to this next turn right here. The Axis of the Allies have met their victory conditions, except the Germans are still holding on to this little town right here. So I'm going to take a pause. I'll be right back. We'll play Allied turn 9. Okay, so let's do the Allied turn 10, I believe, right? Turn 10, Allied. One moment. Turn 10. So first of all, no more indirect fires next turn because this is the last turn. So I'm going to finish off this one over here. This right here is going to be 2 to 1. I rolled a 4. 2 to 1 with a 5. That's dispersed. Good. Right. Over here, roll for a take off. Like I said, I have 6 markers. Only 4 that can actually be an indirect fire. The label 1 through 6, so the first 2 I'm going to roll 6 twice, and those will be taken off. 3 will be taken off, and 2, 3 and 2. So this right here is 3, and that's the one they actually wanted to not be taken off, but it's taken off. And 2 is right down here. That marker is taken off. So now, so the only one that will be affected by indirect fire will be him right there. And that'll be a 4 to 1 plus 1. Oh my word. 7. Well, he's dispersed. That's something, right? Oh, I'm so now. So my goal is to take this town right here and not lose any more units. I already have control of that bridge. This is the only hex I need. So I've got to take this. So first I have vehicular movement. Well, no, first I have direct fire. Yes, I do have direct fire right here. It'll be 20 to 12. It's, well, I'll do it right here. It'll be 20 to 8. It'll be 2 to 1 straight up. Then I roll a 6. And no effect. That's very disappointing. I kind of like some opportunity fire, but I'm gonna fire against this guy. And it's gonna be a, no, I can't eliminate it. All right, I'm gonna fire against one of these mortar units. It's gonna be 1 to 1 plus 1. Valentine right here. I can try using that. Can't fire against him because I already fired against him. 2, 3, 4. 1 to 1, straight up. Good. All right, or turn over my strength. Yes, turn. That tank right there. That tank right there. Fire. I'm getting fire. Fire. All right, so next. Movement phase. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. Stop right there. We have 1 to 2 straight up. Dispersed. Those two need to be marked with opportunity fire. Those have really, but those two units have, mortar units have really been annoying. This unit didn't move. This unit did. I don't think I can actually win this game again, because in order to win it, I actually have control of it, and well, I just have to use this tank and pray that somehow I can eliminate those two units. Just throw as much firepower in there as I can. Hopefully I eliminate those two units and then throw an infantry and then move another unit in there. I got a Bren over here. That's gonna be it. That's what I gotta do. He move. So it's gonna be 10. And that's going to be primarily in favor of the defender. That's going to be an armored target. So it's going to be 20, actually. So it's going to be a 20 to 12. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 23 to 12. It'll be 24 to 12. I have a 2 to 1. So it'll be a 2 to 1. +1. This armor against an armored target is 20. All right, this armor against our armored target is 20 right there. And then I have 4 infantry units. Each of those infantry units are worth 1 point because they're going against armor. So I have 24 to 12. That's 2 to 1 +1. And I need to eliminate that. If I don't eliminate that, the game is over in Axis 1. And that's not going to do it. 4 to 1. It's just that's not going to win the game. I made a crucial mistake that I made. This is the second time I made that mistake. I can't count on showing units in close assault. I should my disposal firing at X. If I did that, it would have been what? 1, 2, 3. Well, it would have been 20. It would have been 34 to 12. I would have gone 34 to 12. 20. No, it would have been 44 to 12. I would have gone a 3 to 1. And the die roll would have been 4 or 3 to 1. With the 4 still would have been dispersal. So I really need to take that a turn earlier. So that's the game. And I'm going to continue playing this. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just took an extended break. I was starting to feel a little video. But, so it's been like, probably been 10 hours since I last did this. All right, so I made some tactical errors on as the Allies. The Allies can't win this because they can't control this hex. The last best chance I had to control this hex was that last fire, and if I had rolled a 1, I think would have eliminated this, and then the infantry could have come in here. But they can't win now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play out the rest of the game to the best of my ability for both sides. And I'm going to do an after-action report. And I'm going to count up the ratio because the Germans have to have a ratio of eliminated units that's less than 3 to 2. In other words, for every 3 British units that get eliminated, there have to be at least 2 German units that get eliminated. So, all right, so that was my last grasp. I had 24 to 12 here. This is the one that fired, and some of these fired too. 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the last grasp failed. Okay, we're still in the fire phase. I already did the movement phase too, where I moved some units forward. You can see those marked as being moved. The upper right hand corner. Let's see now. So it's infantry movement. I forget what I'm going to do here. At dispersed unit is toast. I don't want to enter either of these killing zones or either of these. So 1 to 3. Well, if I move this stone down, it'll be a 1 to 2. Becomes a 1 to 1 +1. Right now, what I'm trying to do is just get that ratio, that kill ratio, as high as I can get it. Right here, it's a losing proposition. Well, it's 6 to 18 or 6 to 16, 1 to 3 minus 2. I just want to prevent losses now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a hill. 1, 2. I don't think it matters anyways. 1, 2, 3. And I have to roll 4. Disable. I mean, dispersal. No. Yes. Yes. That last one was a 5. Yes, it was. So that's dispersed. Doesn't matter because that's removed it down this turn. Okay, so I believe I still have one close assault I can do. Right here. It's 5 takes, so it's a 1 to 2. It becomes a 1 to 1. It's 2. 1 to 1 minus 2 with a 0 is just dispersed. All right. Well, that's, I mean, I'll take that. You know? Okay, that's it. Now we have the Axis final turn over here. So Axis indirect fire, the only indirect fire. Okay, so I'm going to clean up the ally. All right, so now it's the German fire phase. I mean, it's German indirect fire. The only indirect fire I have against the allied units is right here. And that is going to be a 35 to 2. It'll be a 4 to 1 plus 1. And I rolled a 5. I believe that's an elimination. 5, yes, that is an elimination. Okay. So I place a wreck there. I'll clone this wreck. I'll place a wreck there. Oh, okay, so there are actually 2 wrecks in the spot I cloned. So I'll just move one over, delete one. This unit, oops. Okay, so that's it. Now it's direct fire. I don't think the Axis have many direct fires. I don't know if they have any direct fire as well. I mean, the Allies did a good job of. The Allies did a good job. There was just that one tactical error that I was kind of counting on close combat to eliminate those units, but that doesn't gain control. It only gains control if I can enter units into it. And you can't advance after close combat in this particular rule set. So you have to do something a little bit different. I could have maybe looked to concentrate fire. I should have paid more attention to that. I was looking at the big picture and everything, assuming that I'd be able to get that. But I was looking operationally, but I wasn't looking tactically. I should have thought of that. All right, I don't think the, well, I have this one right here. They can fire. That unit spotted. Well, it'd be easier to take out this one. 4 to 1 plus 1. All right, that becomes a wreck. The burns are easier to take out. Interesting game, though. I believe that's going to be it. Let's see. Anybody else? Marks is fired. All right. Now, movement phase. Any more German indirect fire? Direct fire. No, movement phase. Last chance for Germans to make some effect. Go right here. You know, so it's, you can't do much anyways. Just gonna go right there. Well, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Maybe I'll do a close assault over here. See what I can do. 2. So I'm gonna check for both of these. See if they're dispersed. Going left to right. Dispersed. Dispersed. Yes. Okay. So dispersed. Excellent. All right. I believe that's it. Right here, I have a 3 to, well, it'll be 1.5 to 8. I don't have an attack there. All right, that's it for the game. I gotta close the door because my dogs are talking to each other. All right, that's it. I'm going to take a pause now, and I'm going to tally up the casualty totals. I'll be right back. Okay, so like I said, the British lost because they had one town hex that they couldn't control at the end of the game. I made a tactical blunder. I should have had. I was kind of relying on one last close combat to eliminate the German units in that town, but I forgot that you can't advance after close combat, so I can never control that hex if I destroy that unit by close combat at the end of the game. I tried to use whatever units I had left to do in the direct fire phase to eliminate in the direct fire phase, but I just didn't roll. I needed to roll a 1. I didn't do it. It was that close. As far as the other criteria of the British winning this game, the ratio of British to Axis losses has to be less than 3-2, and the ratio was 37-32. So the British met that criteria by far. That was easy, but it's just that one town and that one dice roll that really affected it. General AAR, the Typhoons I had, they were doing things up in the north. I think I should have used them to suppress or even eliminate the Axis. I think maybe I could have been more patient with those and use them to eliminate the Axis indirect artillery, indirect fire units. That was my initial intention, but it just didn't work out that way. I used them for other things. The most I got out of those Typhoons was one German unit was disrupted for one German indirect fire unit was disrupted for one turn, which didn't have a huge effect. Okay, as far as the overall plan, well, my plan was threefold. Up here in the north, I was to put pressure on the north, and I did that. That was pretty decent. There was a lot of fighting up there. I sent some units across the river over here in the center, and very early on, I feel like I might have thrown away my tanks. I mean, I think I started with 1, 2, 3, 4 Shermans. How many Shermans did I start with? Let's take a look. I actually started with 20 Shermans, and at the end of the game, I only had 4 left. So I lost 16 Shermans, and they were basically cannon fodder. Maybe I could have used those a little bit differently. I made a rules error. I spent a lot of time trying to get this one little town here, get that one single X town in board A. And when I was firing at it, I wasn't with armor units. I wasn't using it as an armor target, so I lost a lot of firepower and I lost a little time there. I used my big tanks, the 1612s, the Achilles. I used those as long-range spotters. I think maybe I could have left some Brens and used Brens as spotters, and had the Achilles in the forefront of my attack wherever it was. The Brens make good spotting vehicles. You just park them, and if they can stay hidden, you're golden. And I should use the Brens to spot. What else? Oh, one interesting thing that might have worked but would have been risky was taking the 3 of my indirect fire units, as the British are howitzers. They are sextons. They have a range of 35 and a firepower of 35. I just used them as indirect fire, kept them way behind the lines the entire game. It would have been interesting to move those forward and use those as direct fire weapons. The problem is you risk losing them. Use of infantry. Use of infantry. That's just a German arc. And I think that is it. Now for the Germans, I think the German setup was pretty sound actually. On the board C, which was mainly woods, I set up all my indirect fire units, and I had them protected with a couple half tracks and a couple tanks. And the British actually made a fairly decent push to sweep through that area, and was able to defend those units. So the German player had all his indirect fire units for the entire game, and you'd have one wiped out. I'm thinking maybe if I use their tornadoes later, well, maybe coordinating the air cover, the tornadoes with the ground units a little bit better, I think would have worked a little bit better. I did put a big push from St. Athan to try to go into that wooded area and destroy those indirect fire units. Maybe I could have put a little bit less of a push there, and maybe had just a holding force there, just enough to engage, prevent the Germans from going on the offensive out of that woods, and put some more units up north into Grensel's. In the center in Grensel's, or push maybe a bigger attack up north. One thing I found that was very effective at the end of the game was using indirect fire as area denial. One thing I did effectively for the Germans was I placed every hex that surrounded that last bridge. I put indirect fire units there to make it very difficult to get that bridge, or even to be on that bridge. I kind of did the same things with the Allied artillery. I used the Allied indirect fire as area denial, just hitting certain areas where I didn't want there to be enemy units, and that was pretty effective. And that's it. Very, very good scenario. I think the scenario has excellent play balance. There's excellent play balance between the Germans and the British. There's a good mix of forces. I love the importance of the indirect fire for both sides. That's a major element in the game. I like the fact that you really do have to coordinate your air and your land and your armored and your infantry in order to be really successful. This is a unit where the British are going to lose a lot of units and going to take a lot of hits, and they just got to press forward. All right, that's my read. It's my short read on Operation Goodwood Scenario 5 for PanzerLeader. Next up, it's a one map board. The Allies have a ton of units. The Allies are in the south. Allies have a ton of units. The Germans set up north. Germans don't have a ton of units. The Allied players have to control all 4 town hexes of Nes and ECA, and not losing more than 10 Allied units at the end of the game. So all depends on how many units the Allies lose. The more units the Allies lose, the lower the level of victory is going to be. So I want to push the Allied units north. I'll push the Allied units north while losing as few units as possible. In order for the Germans to win decisively, they have to control 1 town of NEC, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And that's how they get a tactical victory, or they have to eliminate more than 10 Allied units. That'll be a tactical victory. At the end of the game, there's no German marginal victory. All right, that's it. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much. It's been very interesting. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.